Did Sarah Ferguson really live up to the image of the devoted royal mother she spent decades promoting? The former Duchess of York has long described raising her daughters as the one thing she did 100% right. But newly resurfaced revelations connected to the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, along with fresh scrutiny surrounding Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, are raising uncomfortable questions about Ferguson's judgment as a parent. For years, Ferguson built her public identity around motherhood. She frequently described being a mother as the greatest achievement of her life. In interviews, she even declared she was the best mom. Fergie often spoke about her daughters in deeply emotional terms, portraying them not only as family, but as her closest allies, and publicly, that bond seemed real. But behind the scenes, some royal observers say the picture looked very different. Royal author Andrew Loney has suggested Ferguson sometimes struggled to balance royal life with parenting responsibilities. According to sources cited in his book entitled, Ferguson often relied heavily on nannies when the princesses were young. One insider claimed that public appearances with the children were sometimes carefully choreographed. The Duchess would allegedly take the girls' hands while posing for photographers, only to pass them back to childminders once cameras were gone. While such arrangements were hardly unusual in royal households, critics argue the contrast between Ferguson's public claims and private routines raised questions. Some of the most controversial moments came during trips abroad. According to accounts from author Madame Vasso, Ferguson sometimes traveled with her daughters alongside men rumored to be romantic partners. One widely discussed trip occurred in 1990. While vacationing in Morocco, Ferguson was photographed with American businessman Steve Wyatt. Among the images was one showing toddler Beatrice sitting on Wyatt's knee, a photograph that raised eyebrows given Ferguson was still married to Andrew at the time. The images fueled intense tabloid speculation about the nature of their relationship. Just 2 years later, Ferguson found herself at the center of an even bigger scandal. In 1992, she was photographed relaxing in Saint-Tropez with her financial advisor, John Bryan. The now infamous images showed Bryan kissing and sucking the Duchess's toes as she sunbathed. The photos exploded across front pages worldwide and became one of the most notorious royal scandals of the decade. What reportedly made the situation more controversial was that Beatrice and Eugenie, then very young children, had been traveling with their mother during that trip. The scandal placed enormous strain on Ferguson's marriage and contributed to the royal crisis that ultimately led to her divorce from Andrew. Criticism resurfaced again when the princesses grew older. Parents at Marlborough College, where Eugenie studied, allegedly noticed Ferguson's absence at school events. Some parents told Loney they rarely saw either York parent at the school gates. At times, Ferguson allegedly took the girls out of school during term time to accompany her on international trips. The then Duchess reportedly defended those choices by saying travel helped broaden her daughter's horizons, but critics argued the decisions reflected a more unconventional parenting approach. Royal experts say Ferguson's complicated parenting style may be tied to her own childhood. When she was just 13, her mother, reportedly Susan Barantes, left the family to move to Argentina. The separation left a lasting emotional impact. Ferguson later described feeling abandoned and struggling with insecurity, experiences that royal historians say shaped her personality and relationships. In 1998, tragedy struck again when Barantes died after being hit by a truck. The devastating loss is said to have deepened Ferguson's emotional attachment to her daughters. But the latest controversy surrounding the York family has placed Ferguson's decisions under the spotlight once again. Documents linked to the Epstein case indicate the Duchess took Beatrice and Eugenie to visit Jeffrey Epstein shortly after his release from 2009 prison. At that time, Epstein had already served time for soliciting sex from underage girls. The visit has shocked many royal observers and renewed criticism of the York family's judgment. It has also intensified scrutiny surrounding Andrew's long-standing association with Epstein. According to a report by the Daily Mail, royal insiders claim that the latest revelations have left Beatrice and Eugenie deeply uncomfortable. Sources say the sisters were shocked by details contained in the Epstein files and embarrassed by the renewed attention on their parents. Yet, despite the controversy, they are reportedly continuing to support both Ferguson and Andrew behind the scenes. That loyalty has placed them in a painful position, caught between family ties and the growing reputational damage surrounding the York name. For Sarah Ferguson, motherhood has always been central to how she defines herself. Through decades of scandal, she has returned again and again to the same message that her greatest success in life was raising her daughters. But as fresh revelations emerge and the Epstein scandal continues to cast a long shadow over the York family, that carefully crafted narrative is facing renewed scrutiny. And for Beatrice and Eugenie, the challenge now may be protecting their own reputations while standing by the parents they still love.